Hello, it's me, and it's time to jump into this Dayan Gem 6. Now, I'm a great fan of the Dayan Gem series, mostly because they're different variations, shape variations of other kinds of puzzles. And oftentimes they're hybrid puzzles. So it's kind of fun to see how Dayan has taken a common puzzle, like even a curvy copter, or a Dinos cube or something like that, and turned it into a puzzle that looks like something else. So what is this a puzzle of? Well, so what is this a variant of? So I gotta be honest with you, this puzzle I had for a while, but I didn't really do anything with it because the movement was really bad. So only now have I been able to pull it off the shelf and get it lubricated enough where I can move it fairly well. But don't let this fool you, it still is very difficult. Then you've got this face over here that also moves pretty well right now, but it took me a long time to get it like that. So I'm able to move it okay, but it does snag at times. That said, what kind of a solve strategy would I have with this puzzle? So what kind of algorithms would I use? Well, it's pretty easy to see that there's a very close homology that this has to a puzzle that I just did. There's a reason why I did it, which is the Wheel of Wisdom. Now, it's more than just a passing similarity. You can see that a lot of these shapes look the same. For instance, you've got these pieces over here. I don't know if you can see that, but you've got the triangle pieces here. You can see this shape is exactly the same. So as you chase this around, this face is the same as this face. You've got this piece here, you've got these pieces over here, then you've got this corner. Now the difference is that this corner is one color. This corner is three colors, basically. Well, I don't know if I call that a corner, it's really more of an edge. But I'm going to call these pieces the same. So these shapes are the same. These are exactly the same, and the center is the same. So if I were to move this over here, and all of these are the same color, that's the same as moving this over here. It's really exactly the same. And what I'm looking at is the fact that these pieces, this is now two colors instead of one color, and this is three colors instead of one. So this actually becomes something of a supercube version of this guy. This was easy. I could have complete equivalencies of all of these pieces. So all these pieces here are equivalent, these are equivalent, and these are equivalent. Here I have specificity, not equivalence. So only this belongs here, only this belongs here. So it means although I can use the same algorithms, I've got to be extra careful in terms of the placement. So what else is homologous? Well, this move here is homologous to this move. And the only difference is that when I do this move, I'm taking these corners with me. So what are the corner pieces here? Well, those corner pieces are these guys here. So notice this has three colors, and they're all the same shape over here. So this is a corner piece, this is a corner piece. And these are placed and solved the same way that these are. Now this is easier because you can tell you just do a 2x2 solve. Here you also do a 2x2 solve, but how do you know that this corner belongs next to this corner over here? The only way to know that is you sort of have to keep extending it across, because I know this is blue. So what matches with the blue is the green over here, and this has a green. So I have to find the common variable between this blue and this green, and to decide which actually works. There's a blue-green over here. I can maybe use the top to help guide me. So it does take a little bit more doing. But in addition to that, so far I've shown you that all the pieces are the same except one. There's one kind of a piece that is not represented on this puzzle, and that's these little slices here, these two colored edges over here. As I turn this here and as I turn this here, you can see that this is a corner here, this is an edge here, this is a corner. These pieces, if it exists on this puzzle, it's hidden. So now I've got these guys. But my thinking is that the algorithms to solve this is exactly the same as this. I've got to be careful about the placement, but it's pretty much the same puzzle, the same kind of thing. Now, how do I navigate these guys? What comes of that? Well, it's actually super easy. It's the easiest part of the puzzle, really, because if I wanted to do an exchange of these, if I can do a 3-cycle, then I can do that anywhere in the puzzle, and if I can do it independently without affecting these, then it's not going to be a problem. So if you look at this, I can simply do, since this move here and this move here all coincides with this piece here, then all I need to do to exchange these three is just do a down, down, up, up, literally pyramid style. And as you can see, everything is the same, but I just 3-cycled these three. So that's no problem at all. I can do that all around the puzzle. So getting it back, down, down, up, up. No need to design any new algorithms. So, like I say, the movement of the puzzle, once you get it broken in, and once you've stopped losing stickers, it's pretty good. Here's my sticker graveyard. So, it's frustrating, but it's kind of worth the effort because it's the kind of puzzle you were sort of hoping this would be, but this turned out to be much easier because it really didn't take any algorithms. The solution that I did with this was very simple, required no algorithms, just the sliding U technique, which is barely even an algorithm. So I think you can do the same thing here, but if we were to correlate it, I'm wondering if some of these stickers are still sliding. It's okay, I've got backup stickers ready for me, so this one looks like it's kind of skewed. But in any case, going through some of the algorithms, if I wanted to move, say, these corner pieces around, well, actually, these corner pieces around, if I wanted to move that, then the sliding U technique would take this to here, and this to here. So this is like a cross cube, where this is the small face on the cross cube, and this is the large face over here. So it's just a cross cube solve. But just to go through that algorithm, this is now the corner, which was the same as this. This went to here, this went to here, and this went to here. And it shouldn't affect anything else. So what I'm going to do is move it up on the right. Now we slide this top face to the left, like this. Move it up on the left, like so. Slide it back to the right. Move it down on the right. Slide it back to the left. And move it down on the left. And then we slide this back. So what you notice is that's what happened. This went to here, this went to here, and this went to here. Now notice I slid these with it too, but we're not going to worry about that because I've already showed you the algorithm to get out of that. So that's all that's needed with this. And in terms of these guys, it's the same kind of an algorithm. We do a sliding U technique where this comes to here, this comes to here, and this comes to here. So inevitably there's a 3 cycle with that. So now that you know that, I encourage you to take this puzzle, review this tutorial, and see if you can do this by yourself, even without looking at this video, even without looking at the tutorial, now that we've gone through it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the plunge, get it scrambled up, and see what we can do about the solve. So why don't we just go ahead and do that. In many ways, this is me kind of testing just how good the movement of this puzzle is. Do I need to lubricate it anymore? I'd rather not, because every time I do that, I start losing stickers. Have backup stickers ready, have super glue ready, because you will start to lose stickers with this. Anyway, so you can start moving things 45 degrees, like over here. This puzzle does not shapeshift, unlike other gems. It does not jumble. It does lose stickers though. So I'm going to go ahead, the way I'm doing that is I'm trying to put it askew like that, try to put this askew like this, and this askew like this. Now notice these can start to come out. I've never had one pop on me, but it does make for something of a challenging movement issue. And move this over here. See, this almost came undone. This one does not want to follow it until it pops into here. Okay. So with that said, now I'm just going to move this. You can see how this is locked up over here. It's not because of a lubrication issue, it's because it just locked up. Okay, very good. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to keep scrambling it until I've separated these out as much as possible. Abracadabra. Okay, so what you're seeing is the part of the puzzle that I actually really like. This looks impressive. You show somebody this, and it's 30 sides of confusion. And they look at it and say, you've got to put every one of these pieces in, not realizing that some of these pieces are the same, but every one of these sides have to be solved. Amazing. So it's a neat little gimmick, if nothing else. The solve itself, it does take a while, but it is pretty straightforward. It's solved pretty much the same way as this. Now, the first step, just like we did with Wheel of Wisdom, is we put in the edges here. The corners rather, of the 2x2, the 2x2 corners, or 3x3 corners, however you want to look at it. We have to bear in mind that these are the corners, but I'm not going to be able to tell what's supposed to be next to each other just by looking at them. So this is the part that might actually take a good part of your thinking, a good part of your time. So here's how we're going to do this. The only way to know is to look at the top and try to correlate it with these pieces here, these colors over here. So you're going to be doing a lot of searching around. So let's put in a white one here. Now it doesn't mean that this red and green is going to correlate with this, but let's see what happens if it does. So I've got a white with a red and green. So that means I'm going to look for a corner that has a green or a red in it. Now if you can imagine, here's a corner and here's a corner over here, and this will help dictate what's supposed to happen. Now in actuality, this would not correlate with any of these corners. Instead, it would correlate with what goes over here. So if this is red over here and this is green over here, yeah, okay. So so this red would correlate with this and this green would correlate with this. That's if this belongs here. But what if it belongs here? If it belongs here, then it'll correlate with just one of these corners. So once again, if this corner belongs here, if this corner piece, this small face corner piece belongs here, then the 3 by 3 corner here would have red and green. However, if it belongs here, then it's going to correlate with these two corners where this will be a red and this will be a green. So what I'm going to do is let's find a corner with the red and or green, and you can see it over here. So if I move this over here, that tells me this belongs here and this belongs here. So this does belong by the white side. Don't look at this. This is a small-faced white. This is a big-faced white. So I know this belongs here. So now the question becomes, well, what belongs over here? What color belongs over here? So I'm going to have to find the other white corner that has the green. It's the only other white corner piece that has green. That color will define what is going to be over here, which will define what this corner piece is going to be. So let's find a white. You're going to be doing a lot of searching around. I'm looking for the white and the green. So the white and the green, not this one, but it's a corner piece. So here's a white, here's a white. Aha! So I'm going to move this up to where I want it to be, just so that I can, you know, kind of move it into place. And I'm going to move this out of the way here. So I'm not trying to solve the white top. I'm just trying to put this into position so I can have an understanding of what's going on here. So, and this is what I mean. It will move, but it will only move with a lot of encouragement. Oh, see, now I've already lost my white piece. So, yeah, it's right here. So I want to move this up here. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to move this up. I'm going to move this like so, and I'm going to move this back down. Okay, so you can see this white and this white. And I'm not trying to solve for this. I'm only focused on the corners. So I can see two greens over here, which correlates with this. This is a blue, a light blue. So I need to find the corner piece here with a light blue. It just so happens to be here. Maybe I didn't scramble it enough. So I know this belongs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this so that it rotates. I'm going to turn this so that this is rotated where the blue is facing here. So I'm going to just go R-I, D-I, R-D, and do it again. R-I, D-I. Nope, it's not going to be where it needs to be. So for me, this is the fun part because you have to kind of search around and use some investigatory skills. So you can see that this white with the red and green correlates with this corner. This white with the other green and now baby blue correlates with this corner. Now the final sign that I'm where I need to be, and this is just to confirm my theory actually, there must be a white with a light blue and pink. If that's the case, then we're good. I don't even have to move it in here. I just have to know that it exists. So I'm going to find a white and see. Now, notice here's a brown, is that orange? Yeah, an orange and a pink. Oh, well, who cares? Okay, so here it is, right here. Here's the baby blue and the pink, which will correlate with this corner, baby blue and pink. So we're good. Now, I'm not going to move this into here because it really doesn't matter. I know that I know it belongs here. So now that I know that these two corners are correct, what about this corner? Well, so I need to know the other white and pink. So there's another white and pink corner that's not here. So this is the baby blue and pink. Now, it might behoove me to put this up here just because or put this up here, just because I won't keep running into this thinking that that's where it is, because I'm going to be doing a lot of running around. So I could just put this into place, and it's easy enough for me to just go turn it up here, should be easy enough anyway, and just go splat. Okay, and now I can move this back to here, and this back to here. Okay, did I do good? Well, no, not really. So this goes here, this is here. I really need to move this to here. So, well, I can do that. And just move this here, out of the way. I'm just going to bring this down, move this up, and move this in. Again, I'm not trying to solve for this side, but it's very important to get these corners right and to get it right now, or you're going to mess up the whole puzzle. Okay, so with that said, I can now move this here, so you can see that these whites are all correlating. This correlates with this correlates with this, and now we've got this corner where this correlates. So now this is out of the way, so I can find the other white and pink, which is right here, pink and orange. What that tells me is that this corner has to have pink and orange, and it's not this. So I'm going to move down to here. It's not this. It's this. Well, no, this is pink and yellow. I don't like that. So it makes me wonder. Okay, you know, I'm already thinking about it wrong. Pink and orange, so it's going to be one with an orange, and it's not this. And there's only going to be one corner with an orange in it. That's how to think of it. So once again, this you can see is a pink and orange. The other pink, blue and pink rather. The other white is going to have pink and orange, which correlates with this corner. So that's going to be one with an orange, and there's only going to be one. So an orange, no. Orange, no. Orange, yes. So I'm going to move this up, and the orange is going to have to be here. So R-I-D-I, R, you can see it's not in, so let's do it again. Turn, turn, and turn. Okay. So we're doing well. This is the orange. And I don't need to put anything else in because, well, I've already done this one. Nope, actually I haven't. Okay, so basically here, there's a pink and orange. This will be confirmed by finding a white with an orange and blue. Now again, I'm not going to start moving them in. I've got enough in there, but it's the only other white, and it's right here. Orange and blue, orange and blue. So we're good. You can see this white with an orange and blue. This white has an orange and blue. So now the question is, what goes here? Well, it's the other white with a blue. Whatever this color, so it's going to be white, blue, and something else. So let's find the other white and blue. It's right here. Blue, and that's going to be light green. You can see that. So if this were flipped over here, this blue would correlate with this, and this light green would correlate with what has to be here. So the light green has to come into here, and it's right over here. So we're going to go turn R-I-D-I, R-D. Didn't have to do the D, but what the heck. So now this is in over here. Purple. So this is where we really have to start checking our work very well. So this white and red and green is fine. So if I start working backwards, here's a red, and I have to correlate it with this. It's the only other white and red. So let me see. Remember, it's white on top. White, red, and purple. Okay, so what that tells me is that this has to be a purple. This has to be a purple over here. So let me see, where's the purple one? That would be down, okay, it's not here. Here's a purple one. Now, here's what's interesting. Purple, light green. I knew that this was going to be light green, but I said light green and pink. So this purple will correlate with this, because it's got to be white and purple. And it'll also correlate with this because there's a white, blue, and light green. So I'm going to take this, if I can find it again. Sometimes it's hard to visualize where these corners are. Right here. So this purple belongs up here. What's more, the purple has to be facing this way and the green has to be facing this way. So let's see if we can get that to work. So that's R-I, D-I, R, D. And we don't like that because the purple has to be here and the green has to be here. So R-I, D-I, R, D. So you can see how that the presence of two light greens was about to trip me up. So you got to go all the way around the puzzle. R-I, D-I, R, D. Okay, so now you can see the purple and the green is here. And that's going to fit with the white, with the blue, and light green. And I'm pretty sure we saw that. Here's a light green and purple. Yep, that's going to fit over here, light green and purple, so that's perfect. So every white corner that I see, baby face corner, small face corner should correlate. For instance here, this is orange and blue, and that's over here. Now if we can find a blue and light green, again I'm pretty sure we already found that. And here's my red and purple, that's what clued me in. Here it is. Blue and light green and purple and light green. Okay, so we know that there's a home for both. Okay, so in that way, I know all these corners are correct. Although it still looks very scrambled, right? You wouldn't know it that you actually put some things in place, but these are actually going to coordinate the very top of the puzzle. Now we got to do the same thing, but on the other side. And the thing is, these corners are where they need to be, but we don't know if they're rotated. We don't know if they're where they. We don't know if they need to be swapped. It's so easy over here, but here, not so much. So we have to think about it. So in other words, here is a yellow, green, and red. Purple and red, rather. So let's find the corner that correlates with that. And actually, I'm just going to move this up, if I can. And I can't always. Turn it up. Remember, get some extra stickers with this puzzle because you're going to need it. And let's move this down. Okay, so I have this over here, red and purple. So here's a purple over here, and here's a red over here. So I'm going to say these two belong next to each other for now. But this is rotated wrong. I got to get the red over here. Now rather than continue to try to kind of calculate what that's going to be, let's just do that. I can turn this by doing R-I-D-I-R-D. Now be careful, because as you're doing that, you're going to start messing these corners up. You don't want to do that. But if you do R-I-D-I-R-D, one set of that is twice. R-I-D-I-R-D to bring it down, R-I-D-I-R-D to bring it back up. If you do 3 sets of those, as you know from the beginner's technique, you'll put everything back where it needs to be here. So let's R-I-D-I-R-D this until this red is facing this direction to match this. R-I-D-I, R-D, and again, R-I-D-I-R-D. Okay, I did one set of that, and this is now turned where we need it to be. The bottom is messed up, so I'm going to move this to another position, and I'm going to R-I-D-I-R-D this twice, and that'll bring this back into configuration. R-I-D-I-R-D, R-I-D-I. R-D, that's once, and one more. R-I-D-I-R-D, R-I-D-I-R-D. Now that should have reset the bottom back, and it did. You've got to remember to do that, just sort of make that a habit. Now I'm going to move this back. So now this is correct. You can see this blue and this red is correlated with this. You can see how stickers can come off because you see the kind of sliding that I had to do. Combine that with the fact that you lubricated the middle, so this gets very slippery. Okay, so that's all well and good. Now the question is this. Well, I can start to correlate things and say, well, what is the other yellow and blue? Well, one of the yellow and blues has to be red, and we can confirm that, confirm our theory. I'm just going to search around for another yellow. I believe I brought one down here. Another yellow corner, maybe it's over here. Okay, so here's a corner. Here's a blue and green, light green. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead. So this blue needs to correlate with the light green, which is here. So I think these two need to be swapped, because you saw a yellow with a blue and a light green, and that's probably going to end up here. As a matter of fact, here is the yellow, light blue, and purple, which is going to go here, light blue and purple. So the other one has to have the green. So I'm going to take this light green and swap it to here. Holding it over here, I'm going to do a corner swap to our U, to our UI, to our UI, D, to our UI, to our U, to R, and move this back. Okay, so in that way, I'm able to take this and correlate it with this over here. I'm going to take my yellow. Okay, here's a blue. Now I'm running into trouble here. I think I made a mistake because this is a light blue. This is a light blue and an orange, and a purple rather. So this correlates over here. However, this is a light blue and a dark green, which is here. So I made a mistake. I don't know how I did that, but this dark green has to come over to here. So let's switch it again to our U, to our UI, to our UI, D, to our UI, to our U, to R. So you will make mistakes like that. That's why you got to keep checking yourself. This practices you. This has you practice how to do science actually. Okay, so light green. Okay, let's see what we've done here. This correlates with this. We've got the yellow and blue. We've got the yellow, light blue, and green. Now this is not rotated correctly, so I'm going to RD this until this ends up with a green facing this way, right? Light blue and green, so the green has to face this way. Let's see how many RDs, how many sets we're actually going to do. So that's going to be RIDI, RD, RIDI, RD, one more, I think, RIDI, RD, RIDI, RD. Okay, bottom is messed up. We got the green facing here. I did 2 sets of that. Now here's the thing. I don't want to move these corners because they're already spoken for. So I got to move this corner in like so. Now I know that if I did 2 RIDRDs, I must only need to do 1. So if my prediction is correct, by doing 1, we'll put this exactly where it needs to be in conjunction with the top. So that's RIDI, RD, RIDI, RD. We confirm that it brought this back to where we want it to be. Yep, okay, good. So now we see if that actually worked. So once again, we find our pieces here, and let's make sure that all the yellows that we have actually correlate. Well, this still correlates here, so that's good. This correlates over here. Now I need to find a yellow, orange, and green. Well, we can just find any one and see if they correlate. So here's a yellow, pink, and orange. Do we have a need for a yellow, pink, and orange? Well, here's an orange and here's a pink. That's great, because now that goes over here. That's yellow, pink, and orange. So that fits. So far, our theory has been shown to be correct. Here's a pink and green. Here's the pink and green. So we're good. Here is a yellow, light green, and blue. Light green and dark blue. Here's a light green and dark blue. So we're good. And I think we've already seen these, which is the yellow, blue, and red. And just for the sake of kicks, let's see if we can find one. Here's a yellow, green, and orange. If we find that, then we're good. And we do. Whoa, oh, do we? Yep, yellow, green, and orange. Okay, so we're good. We have all of these right in conjunction with the top and the bottom. Now, we could have a situation like this. So how do we know that these don't correlate? So we're going to have to maybe spot it, because although I know that these are fine, does this belong just above this? And that's where we have to, now maybe we'll go over here. Now when I move the top faces, I'm not going to affect my corners at all. So I'm going to move this to here and ask myself which one of these correlates. So this correlates over here. So this belongs here or here, depending on where we want to put this. Let's find another orange. Okay, so here's another light blue. So I'm going to move this up like so, but I've got to take this out of the way and move this back down to get my corners back. Okay. Oh, I took this out. Move this all the way down here, and then I go 1, 2. So that got my corners back. So here's a blue and green. So where is the green? This is another light blue, so I'm going to move this by here. And I like this because this is blue and light green. So this correlates with this. This must have to be here. This has to be here because this is blue, a light blue rather, and this is green. So this has to be here. These two are by each other. And now it's a question of, what about this? Blue, and I've got to correlate it with these guys here. Is there a green and red? Well, let's see. Okay, here's a dark blue and a light green. Dark blue and a light green. Okay. So that goes up here. Dark blue and a light green. So what that tells me is that this is a dark blue, this is a light green, that orange comes to here, so that is correlated with this, and this is correlated with these two, light blue and dark green. Okay, so that tells me this is the proper configuration. So these corners are all in configuration the way this is. So all that time was just spent to put the corners in, but once you've done that, even though it still looks scrambled, everything is where they need to be.